Okay guys, so we've gotten our background finished and it is time to start adding some images and some embellishments to our page. And I am going to I'm going to use some stickers and some washi tape and a few other things that I've kind of prepared in advance. One of the things that I like to do is to busy up my background. This background is blended really well, but it's just, I don't know, it's a little too plain for me. Plus it's really bright. And so what I would like to do is add some white to it to kind of take away some of that boldness just a little bit. So I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and take my white paint and I'm going to use my stencils and I'm going to go across the page with those. Let me find them. Thought I was prepared, but I wasn't. Okay, so I'm going to use I use the stencil a lot. Y'all have seen me use it already last week, and I'm using it again. I just really like it. So, but I'm going to use it to dab some white on the page, and I'm just going to take a little bit, just a paper towel, and a little bit of my white paint. Kind of blot it off on my board over here, and I'm just going to dab these dots. Not a whole bunch, but just enough to give it a little bit of contrast from the bold colors. Now this has a little bit of ink on it that is left from when I used it last week, so it's kind of graying out some of these, but that's okay because it's still going to be a good contrast from what the background is. So hopefully when I get finished you will see the white on the page like that. So see what it does is it kind of gives it some contrasting texture and images. I'm going to do the same thing going from this side over here. So I'm going to take it, just dab it. Ooh, I got a lot of paint on that time. That's okay. And I'm going to go about the same distance down the page. The pattern will be a little different, but that's okay. If you get too much paint, it's going to get underneath your stencil. You will see right now that I did that a little bit on the corner here. I got a little too much and it kind of smeared it, but that's okay. Turn it over and mash it down, get all that paint off of it. Just put that, so it doesn't have to be, I mean, it's nothing specific. I'm going to clean it off as much as I can. I'm out of baby wipes. Usually I use baby wipes to clean my stencils, but I didn't have any. So, okay, so I've got a little bit of white on the page, which I like. It's kind of spread out everywhere. And then I'm going to go ahead now and use some of my stamps. So I've got these stamps of these just different people, and I really kind of like them. I don't remember what brand they are, and I don't have the packaging to tell you, but I got them at Hobby Lobby on sale in their clearance aisle. So I'm going to use a few of these. If you hear some rattling or my baby any baby noises in the background, my grandson is playing in his little play chair while I'm doing this video, so you might hear him in the background, but that's okay. He likes to do art too. So I'm just gonna ink up my stamp really good, and I'm gonna stick these on here. These are just kind of to represent, you know, I'm a person and my life has gone certain ways, and kind of maybe a little bit of like the thought process of working through that by that contemplating look that she has on her face. So that's why I'm putting her on here. I do have something that I actually did in advance that I'm going to use to represent starting and the point at which I'm at now in a little while that I'll show you. So I've used that. I think maybe I'll use another one too, just a little bit different, with a different expression, more of a kind of confused look, which I've been confused many times in my lifetime. So I'm going to put her on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and, like I did last week, I'm going to add some circles. I'm going to use my cup here to just dip in the lid. Just add a few little circles here and there, not a whole lot. Some smaller ones around, just to kind of give it a little bit of extra depth and everything. And then I am going to, let's see, what I want to do next. I think I'm going to add some black, a little bit of black to this page, simply because it's a better contrast. So I'm going to take some of the black and I am going to just use my credit card, just like I did before, dip it in the lid and make some lines. And I'm just kind of smearing it here and there. I'm not even making them straight, you know, I'm not even making them thin lines. I'm just kind of smearing them out around the edges. So there we go. All right. So that adds a little bit of contrast to that. So I really like that a lot. Okay. So now we're doing a timeline this week. So we're talking about the timeline and the significant events in our life that have kind of shaped our belief system. So what I did was one of my favorite stamps is this Delusion stamp set that I have. And it has this little girl. I don't know if you can see her. I just stamped her onto some watercolor paper. And I painted her with watercolors. Same thing on this one. And I did it the way I represented, like, when I started on this journey and I was kind of like beaten down and dull, and there wasn't, I wasn't sure how to deal with a lot of things in my life. But then as I've gotten older and as I've worked through a lot of these things that have happened in my life, I've developed the personality and the person that I am, which is very bright and spirited and colorful and all of those things. So I went from a drab gray with gray socks and gray boots and gray dress and just really drab to this colorful little rainbow hose and bright colors on her dress, and her hair's different colors, and her lips are red and her eyes are blue, and so she's like really colorful and spirited. And so I feel like that a lot of the things that I've done in life have caused me to transition from this very bold, depressed, drab person to this colorful, spirited person. So that's how I'm going to lead my timeline on my page. So I'm going to put her on the corners of my page, and my timeline is going to go across the page. So what I've decided to do is to decoupage her on either sides, and then tomorrow when we do the actual timeline itself, I'm going to use some washi tape and stuff to actually do the timeline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my decoupage and I'm just simply going to brush it on the backs and get her stuck down really well. Because it's heavier paper, you have to kind of use quite a bit of the decoupage. So I'm not going to put her on my paper to do that. I'm going to put her on my artist palette to actually put the decoupage on her, because I don't want a whole lot of decoupage all over my page. So I've got her stuck down really good. What I'll do is overnight I'll set something on top of her to make sure that as that decoupage dries, she doesn't curl up on the page, because I don't want to close my page because it might stick for now, because some of the background stuff that we put on today is still wet. But for the most part, you just decoupage on the back. And I'll do it again with this one so you can see, because I was off camera when I did that other one. Just so you can kind of see how I just make sure I get the edges really, really good. I'll just clean my surface with a baby wipe or paper towel or something, or just let it dry. It's fine, it dries clear, and this is my workspace anyway, so it's not really a big deal. I don't worry about getting it on the front as I move her around, because that's okay. It dries clear, so it's not going to mess anything up. You just have to be careful when you've dealt with watercolors getting them wet. So, and then I just stick her down onto my page. I don't want to smear her lips. So, and then I'll just take like a paper towel or something, something dry because this is watercolor, and then just press it down on her really good so that she sticks. And that's what you get. So I have her and I have her, and we're gonna do our timeline tomorrow that works up through to each person, from drab to colorful. So you guys don't have to do the same thing I did. You can do yours however you want. So don't, feel like you have to copy me. If you don't have stamps, you can just draw things on there. You can cut things out of magazines. You can do all kinds of stuff. So don't feel like that you have to do it the way that I'm doing it. This is just a guide to kind of show you the thought process that I use as I'm creating a page. So you guys go ahead and embellish your pages with your images and get your background texture done and all of that thing. And then we'll do our timeline and our journaling tomorrow. See you guys later.